I want to share with you the most profound secret of manifestation. A secret so powerful that once understood will revolutionize your entire approach to life. Many of you come to me asking why your manifestations are delayed, why your desires seem to take so long to materialize in your world. Tonight, I shall reveal to you why, and more importantly, how to manifest your desires with lightning speed. Let me begin by sharing a principle that most of the world has completely misunderstood. In the book of John, it is written, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Now, what is this word? This word, my dear wonderful friends, is not something spoken by your physical lips. The word is your inner conversation, your mental dialogue that runs ceaselessly through your mind day and night. You see, most people are manifesting slowly or not at all because they fail to grasp this fundamental truth. Your inner conversation is the cause of everything in your world. Everything. Not some things, not most things, but all things. When you truly understand this, you will begin to manifest with such rapidity that others will call it miraculous. Let me share with you a story that came to me just last week. A lady approached me after one of my lectures, her eyes filled with tears. She had been trying to manifest a reunion with her estranged son for 3 years. She had tried everything, affirmations, visualization, even traveling across the country to see him, but he refused to meet her. After attending my lectures and understanding this principle of inner conversation, she realized that her constant inner dialogue was, "Why won't my son talk to me? What did I do wrong? Will he ever forgive me?" Do you see what she was doing? She was perpetuating the very state of separation through her inner conversation. I instructed her to change her inner dialogue to how wonderful it is to talk to my son every day. How lovely it is to hear his voice filled with love for me. Within 1 week, yes, just 1 week, her son called her. Not only did he call, but he apologized for his behavior and expressed his desire to rebuild their relationship. This, my dear friends, is the secret that accelerates manifestation. Your inner conversation must match the state you wish to occupy. There must be no contradiction between what you desire and what you internally hear yourself saying about that desire. Now, let me take you deeper into this mystery. In the book of Matthew, it is written, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." Your treasure is not your desire. Your treasure is your inner conversation about your desire. If you claim to want financial abundance, but your inner dialogue is constantly repeating, "I never have enough money. Everything is so expensive. I can't afford this," then that conversation is your real treasure. And that is exactly what you will manifest. The speed of manifestation is directly proportional to the consistency of your inner conversation. When you maintain an inner dialogue that aligns perfectly with your desire, without contradiction, without doubt, without wavering, manifestation must follow as naturally as day follows night. Some of you might be thinking, But Neville, I try to maintain positive thoughts, yet my inner conversation seems to have a mind of its own. Here is where most seekers stumble. They try to force their inner conversation, to control it through willpower. This is not the way. The secret lies in understanding that your inner conversation is not something to be forced, but something to be assumed. When you truly assume a state, the inner conversation appropriate to that state flows naturally. If you are wealthy, truly wealthy in consciousness, you don't need to force yourself to think wealthy thoughts. The inner dialogue of wealth flows spontaneously because it is natural to the state you have assumed. Let me make this practical for you. Tonight, when you go to sleep, I want you to do something revolutionary. Instead of trying to visualize your desire or repeating affirmations, I want you to simply listen to your inner conversation. Don't try to change it yet. Just listen. Become aware of what you are internally saying about yourself, your life, your desires, your relationships, your finances. This awareness is crucial because what you will discover is that your current inner conversation is a perfect match for your current life circumstances. Every detail of your life right now is a manifestation of your habitual inner dialogue. This is why some people can visualize for hours, affirm until they're blue in the face, yet see no results. Their inner conversation is contradicting everything they're trying to manifest. The secret to rapid manifestation lies in this understanding. Change the inner conversation and you change the outer world. And this is crucial, you must change it naturally by assuming the state of your wish fulfilled. When you assume the state, the appropriate inner dialogue flows without effort. Here's a profound truth that few understand. Your inner conversation is not just about the specific words you say to yourself. It's about the feeling tone behind those words. When you assume the state, the feeling of that state gives birth to natural, effortless, inner talking that matches the state. Consider a woman who wants to be married. She might repeat affirmations like, I am happily married 1,000 times. But if her inner conversation throughout the day is filled with loneliness, questioning when love will come, or expressing doubt about finding the right person, those are the conditions she's actually manifesting. But when she assumes the state of the happily married woman, her inner conversation naturally includes remarks like, my husband always does the sweetest things. I love cooking our favorite meals together. These conversations flow effortlessly because they are natural to the state she has assumed. This brings me to another crucial point about rapid manifestation. In the book of Revelation, it is written, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. This is not speaking of some external deity. This is speaking of your consciousness, your I am. Your inner conversation is how you use this creative power of I am. Every time you engage in inner dialogue, you are defining who I am is. When you say internally, I am struggling. I am trying to manifest. I am waiting for my desire. You are creating those very conditions. The secret to rapid manifestation is to engage in the inner conversation of the state fulfilled, not the state desired. Let me give you a warning here. Many of you will be tempted to monitor your inner conversation constantly, trying to catch every negative thought. This is not what I'm advocating. Such an approach creates tension and resistance, which only slows down manifestation. Instead, simply assume the state of your wish fulfilled and let the natural inner conversation of that state flow. Now, let me share with you something even more profound about this secret. In the book of Job, it is written, "For what I feared has come upon me. What I dreaded has happened to me." This is not just ancient wisdom. This is a precise description of how your inner conversation creates your reality. Your fears, your worries, the things you dread, these are not merely passive thoughts. They are powerful inner conversations that manifest with the same certainty as your desire. This is why I tell you that no one worry you. When others speak of recession, of difficult times, of impossibilities, you must understand that their conversations have no power in your world unless you accept them into your inner dialogue. The only creative power is your own inner conversation. I recall a gentleman who attended my lectures in New York. He was a businessman who had heard countless experts predicting a downturn in his industry. Everyone was preparing for failure, cutting costs, laying off workers. But this gentleman understood the secret of inner conversation. While others spoke of decline, his inner dialogue remained steadfast. My business is thriving. My customers are abundant, but opportunities are flowing to me from every direction. His colleagues called him delusional, unrealistic. Yet within 3 months, while other businesses struggled, his company experienced its most profitable quarter ever. Was this a coincidence? No, my dear friends. It was the law in operation. His inner conversation created a state of consciousness that had to objectify itself in his world. Here is another secret that will accelerate your manifestations. Your inner conversation must not only match your desire, it must transcend time. Notice how most people's inner dialogue is always about the future. I will be successful. I will find love. Things will get better. This very conversation pushes their desires perpetually into the future. The secret is to have an inner conversation that speaks from the in, as though your desire is already fulfilled. In the book of Isaiah, it states, "Before they call, I will answer." This is not about some external God answering prayers. This is about the law of consciousness. Your inner conversation of the wish fulfilled is the answer. And it precedes the physical manifestation. Let me be very specific about this. If you desire financial abundance, your inner conversation should not be, "Money is coming to me," or "I am attracting wealth." These conversations, though seemingly positive, still speak from a place of lack. Instead, your inner dialogue should be that of a wealthy person. I love how easily money flows in my life. It's wonderful having more than enough to share. I enjoy choosing the best of everything. Some of you might argue, but Neville, isn't this denying reality? Isn't this lying to ourselves? Let me address this once and for all. What you call reality is simply the outer picturing of past inner conversations. Your current circumstances, which seem so solid and real, are nothing more than yesterday's inner talking made visible. In the book of Hebrews, it is written, "Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear." Replace word of God with inner conversation, and you have the exact law I'm revealing to you tonight. The things which are seen, your current circumstances, were created by the invisible power of your inner dialogue. Let me share another experience that demonstrates this principle perfectly. A young teacher came to me in despair. She had been assigned the most challenging class in her school, students known for being disruptive and unmanageable. Her inner conversation was filled with dread. These students won't listen. This year will be a nightmare. I can't handle this class. I explained to her the secret of inner conversation. She began to change her internal dialogue too. My students are engaged and eager to learn. I love how respectful and cooperative my class is. Teaching this class brings me joy every day. She maintained this new inner conversation faithfully, even when external circumstances seemed to contradict it. Within 2 weeks, she noticed subtle changes. Students who had never participated began raising their hands. Disruptions became less frequent. By the end of the month, her class had transformed so dramatically that other teachers came to observe what they called her teaching magic. But it wasn't magic. It was the law of inner conversation in action. Now, here's another crucial aspect of this secret that few understand. Your inner conversation is not limited to your own life circumstances. When you engage in inner dialogue about others, you are influencing how they appear in your world. This is why the Bible instructs us to love our enemies and bless those who curse us. These are not moral instructions. They are practical, metaphysical laws. If someone in your world appears hostile or unpleasant, check your inner conversation about them. Are you internally rehearsing their faults? Are you mentally arguing with them? Are you replaying negative interactions? This inner dialogue is creating and sustaining their behavior in your experience. Change your inner conversation about them, and you change their behavior toward you. This is not manipulation. This is the correct use of the law. Everyone in your world is yourself pushed out. Their behavior toward you is simply the manifestation of your inner conversation about them. I had a lady write to me about a difficult mother-in-law. For years, their relationship had been strained, filled with criticism and tension. Every time she thought about her mother-in-law, her inner dialogue was, "She's always judging me. She'll never accept me. She makes my life miserable." I instructed her to change this inner conversation to, "My mother-in-law is so loving and supportive. We enjoy such wonderful times together." She practiced this faithfully. Even though her external circumstances showed no immediate change, but within a month, her mother-in-law's attitude began to shift. Small gestures of kindness appeared. Criticism turned to compliments. Today, They share a loving relationship that amazes the entire family. This transformation wasn't about changing her mother-in-law. It was about changing her inner conversation about her mother-in-law. Now, let me reveal to you an even deeper aspect of this secret that will accelerate your manifestations beyond anything you've previously experienced. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it is written, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." Many interpret this literally, thinking they must wait for the right time for their manifestations. But I tell you truly, time is a creation of your inner conversation. When your inner dialogue constantly speaks of waiting, of process, of gradual improvement, you create time between you and your desire. This is why so many remain stuck in the state of becoming rather than being. Their inner conversation is always about the journey, never the arrival. They say, "I'm getting better. I'm working towards my goal. I'm making progress." While these seem positive, they are actually creating perpetual delay. Let me share with you a profound truth. In imagination, where all creation takes place, there is no time. This is why the Bible speaks of God as the eternal I am, not the I will be. Your inner conversation must reflect this timeless nature of consciousness. Instead of saying internally, "My business is growing," say, "I am perfectly healthy now." A gentleman once approached me after experiencing years of financial struggle. His inner conversation was filled with statements like, "Things are getting better. I'm moving towards prosperity. My debts are gradually decreasing." I explained to him that this very conversation was creating the experience of gradual change, of endless becoming. He shifted his inner dialogue to speak from the end. "I love having more than enough." The results were immediate and startling. Within days, unexpected opportunities appeared. A long-forgotten investment suddenly paid off. A new business partnership emerged that transformed his financial situation completely. What others called coincidence, we know as law. Here's another crucial aspect of this secret. Your inner conversation must be anchored in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Many attempt to change their inner dialogue mechanically, repeating new statements without the corresponding feeling tone. This is why their manifestations are slow and non-existent. In the book of Psalms, it says, "Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart." This delight is the feeling tone that must accompany your inner conversation. When your internal dialogue naturally flows from the joy of having your desire fulfilled, manifestation is instantaneous. Consider a woman who desires marriage. Her inner conversation might be technically positive. "I am married to a wonderful man." But if these words lack the feeling of being happily married, they remain hollow and powerless. When she assumes the feeling of being a beloved wife, her inner dialogue naturally flows with statements like, "I love cooking dinner with my husband. Our evening walks together are so precious. I'm so blessed to share my life with my soulmate." These words carry the feeling tone of the wish fulfilled. Let me share something even more profound about this secret. Your inner conversation extends beyond your waking hours. The thoughts and dialogues that occupy your mind as you fall asleep are particularly powerful. This is why the Psalms instruct us to commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Most people fall asleep rehearsing the problems of their day or worrying about tomorrow. Their inner conversation during these crucial moments is creating more of what they don't want. Instead, as you fall asleep, let your inner dialogue be from the state of your wish fulfilled. Let it be natural, easy, reflecting the joy of already having what you desire. I recall a man who had been seeking a specific position in his company for years. Every night he would fall asleep thinking about how to get the promotion, what he needed to do, who he needed to impress. His inner conversation was always about seeking, never about having. I instructed him to change his preparatory sleep conversation. Instead of planning and strategizing, he was to fall asleep each night with the inner dialogue of already being in that position. His new inner conversation included casual remarks like, "It's wonderful having this responsibility. I love leading this department. My team is exceptional." Within 2 weeks, not only was he promoted to the position he desired, but he was given even more responsibility and compensation than he had imagined possible. Now, let me address something that many of you struggle with: the appearance of failure or delay in your manifestations. When things seem to be going wrong, when circumstances appear to contradict your desire, your inner conversation becomes crucial. Most people allow the internal dialogue to be dictated by circumstances. This is the exact opposite of how the law works. In the book of Romans, it is written, "Call those things which be not as though they were." This is not positive thinking. This is the revelation of how consciousness creates reality. Your inner conversation must call forth the reality you desire, regardless of appearances. A lady who was manifesting perfect health while dealing with a chronic condition. Instead of allowing her inner dialogue to focus on symptoms or medical reports, she maintained a conversation of perfect health. "My body is strong and vital. Every cell in my body is functioning perfectly. I am the picture of health." Her doctors were amazed when her condition completely reversed, defying their prognosis. This brings me to another vital aspect of rapid manifestation. Your inner conversation must be protected from the doubts and negativity of others. When others speak of impossibilities, when they point to reality or facts, you must maintain your inner conversation is so vital. In the book of Proverbs, it states, "Guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." Your heart, your consciousness, is your inner conversation. When you allow external voices to influence your internal dialogue, you give away your creative power. I remember a remarkable case of a young artist who came to me in despair. Gallery owners had rejected her work, critics had dismissed her talent, and her family insisted she find a real job. But she understood this secret. Instead of allowing their voices to become her inner conversation, she maintained an internal dialogue of success. My art touches people deeply. Collectors value my work. My exhibitions are always successful. She told me later that maintaining this inner conversation felt like standing firm in a storm of contrary opinions. But she persisted. Within months, a prestigious gallery owner discovered her work. Today, her paintings command significant prices, and critics who once dismissed her now praise her unique vision. What changed? Not her talent. That was always there. What changed was her inner conversation. Here's another crucial aspect of this secret that few understand. Your inner conversation must be faithful to your assumption. If you assume the state of wealth, but your internal dialogue still speaks of budgeting, saving, and financial caution, you are being unfaithful to your assumption. This divided inner conversation creates delayed and mixed manifestations. In the book of James, it says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. This double-mindedness is not about having doubts. It's about maintaining contradictory inner conversations. You cannot speak internally as both the wealthy and the wanting, the healthy and the sick, the loved and the lonely. You must choose your state and let your inner conversation be faithful to it completely. Consider this profound truth. Every moment of your day is an opportunity to align your inner conversation with your desired state. When you shop, does your internal dialogue speak of prices and affordability, or does it naturally discuss preferences and choices? When you dine out, does your inner conversation concern itself with the cost of the menu, or does it focus on the pleasure of the experience? These seemingly small moments of inner dialogue are actually crucial turning points in your manifestation. Every internal word either aligns with your desire or contradicts it. There is no neutral inner conversation. Let me share one final secret about rapid manifestation that will transform your understanding completely. Your inner conversation is not just about words. It's about the consciousness from which those words spring. When you truly assume a state, the inner conversation appropriate to that state flows naturally, without effort or practice. This is why attempting to monitor and control every thought is unnecessary and counterproductive. Instead, occupy the state of your wish fulfilled, and the right inner conversation will flow spontaneously. This is what the Bible means when it says, "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus." It's speaking of assuming the state of your wish fulfilled, from which all appropriate thoughts and internal dialogues naturally flow. I knew a man who struggled with relationships. He tried to change his inner conversation about love and partnership, but it felt forced and unnatural. Then he understood this principle. Instead of trying to change his thoughts, he assumed the state of being happily married. From this state, his inner conversation naturally shifted. He no longer had to remind himself to think positive thoughts about relationships. The internal dialogue of a happily married man flowed effortlessly from his assumed state. Within months, he met and married a wonderful woman. But here's the crucial point. The meeting and marriage weren't the miracle. The natural shift in his inner conversation was the miracle. The external circumstances simply conformed to his new state of consciousness. Now, as we conclude tonight's discussion, I want to impress upon you this final truth. Dialogue is defining your self-concept, and your self-concept determines what you manifest in your world. When you understand this, truly understand it, you will never again worry about circumstances, conditions, or the opinions of others. You will know that your inner conversation is the only creative power, and you will use it wisely and deliberately. Tonight, as you leave here, I urge you to begin this practice immediately. Don't wait for a perfect moment. Don't prepare yourself. Simply begin now to listen to your inner conversation, and then naturally let it flow from the state of your wish fulfilled. Let your internal dialogue be that of the person who already has what you desire. Remember, secret I've shared with you tonight is not new. It's as old as consciousness itself. But its power is as fresh and available now as it has ever been. Your inner conversation is creating your reality at this very moment. Use it wisely. Use it lovingly. Use it deliberately. For in the end, there is no one to change but self. And self is changed by the transformation of your inner conversation. The world around you, which appears so solid and real, is nothing more than your inner conversation made visible. Change the conversation and you change everything. And now, knowing this secret, go forth and prove it in the laboratory of your own life. For as it is written, according to your faith be it unto you. Your faith is your inner conversation, and it will not fail you. That is the law, and that is the promise